Carl and Damon here from Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. And they made what into a TV series? We are continuing with Roughnecks, Starship Troopers Chronicles. We're up to the Tesca campaign, the 4th, am I right? Pluto, Hydora, Toffit, Tesca.
Fourth one,
This is one, if we're talking as we previously said, the levels. The levels. This is the jungle level, basically. The jungle level.
One of my favourite tertiary ones.
The joke about this one is I barely remembered anything about this one except for one significant episode. And I think it's that episode, the fact that that stands so strongly out of my mind, even after so many years of having not seen it, shows the strength in it. And put it this way, I was like, okay, when it came to it, I was like, what do you remember about this? And I was like, I kind of remember the makeup, the look of it. And I was like, oh, this is the one where Rico almost dies.
Yep.
And remember being as a kid, and it created this nostalgic memory where I was like, oh yeah, I remember as a kid actually thinking he would.
Yep.
Which is absurd if you consider the show.
Yeah.
It really is absurd because they don't kill off anyone, really. Well, no, shut up, we're doing this.
Yeah.
They don't kill off anyone, really. They're certainly not going to kill off the main character.
No, of course not. No.
So I don't know why as a kid I bought into that. But even watching as the adult, I knew, that's Rico, don't be stupid.
Yeah.
What it actually leads to, and the following story that follows that might be up there as one of the strongest things the show's done.
Yeah.
Now I was talking about this, now I'm going to generalise here. I was talking about this show to my wife the other night. And it was when I was getting to the end of it, because, spoilers, looking far ahead, we've now finished it and we're going to be doing all of them. I was telling my wife about it and I said that it's such a strange show. It's such a strange show, an animated TV series based upon a book and movie. And it's like, how does this work? Who's it aimed at? Who the fuck is it aimed at? Well, one of the things I'm saying to her is, what baffles me is you can watch it and you can be like, oh yeah, bug killing, yawn, 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 yawn. Wait, what? PTSD you're dealing with? Wait, what? This is being dealt with. This is being dealt with. And you're like, who is that aimed for? Who is, what, like, that's not youngsters. Now, I don't think this, I'm now convinced more, particularly I think Tesca proves this more. This isn't aimed at kids.
No.
But I don't think it's aimed at adults either. So it seems to be aimed at a very niche, very small group.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously they're trying to aim for the fan base of the books and
that doesn't make any sense though.
It doesn't, no,
because the book's like a 70s.
70s, yeah. I mean, I read the book too, and obviously the book's it's a pretty decent book, but
if you're trying to compare the book to the movie and the show, then the joke is like if you don't know this, the show is more accurate to the book than the film is.
Yes, yeah.
You know, which I find hilarious in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I have a habit. I don't know much on our original reviews of trying to compare the books to the films.
Of course,
you cannot compare the book to the film.
No, of course you can't. Of course you can't. In fact, the writer of the book has criticised the movie for that as well. Yeah. But yeah, just I think as we get to Tesca, it becomes more and more prominent. You start to understand why this show ran into problems and where those problems were going to come from later on. It's strange that the problems would result in what happens, but we'll get to that when it comes to it. For now, we're still at the point where the show is running coherently and in the right direction.
Yeah.
Tesca takes place in the jungle moon of Tesca Nemoroso. So we technically never really go to Tesca because it takes place on a moon around Tesca. Yeah. It opens showing that the skinnies have teamed up with humanity to fight the bugs. You kind of get like a good old-fashioned Starship Troopers propaganda piece. Yeah, exactly. It's that. I'm doing my part. Exactly that. Love that scene. Amazing. And it's a great idea because, of course, the skinnies were enslaved by the bugs. They're as much dealing with the problem as humanity is, and it's a great touch. And it will lead. It now leads to. It's a great storyline. It's a great piece. It's a great thing that develops, even if at first it'll make you hate certain characters.
Yeah, I mean, without going too far into it, I mean, Rico's the main character, obviously. But god damn, this guy's a dickhead throughout the entire. I mean, he has the odd good moments, but throughout the entire, for a main character, he's not a very likable character.
Right. Okay, I agree with you. Except there's one thing. I think it's very important to remember Rico's age and his hothead devotion and aspects like that. And a lot of his conflicts with himself are much about himself. Weirdly enough, Homefront will delve deeper into that than anything else. But by the time that comes around, the show literally is fucking about to end, so it doesn't matter. But I do agree with you this. However, I also think, well, no, here, we'll get into why. Because immediately, you know this could be a problem. And of all the characters to highlight that problem is Razak.
Yes.
As we see Razak making a call to High Command member of Psychon, this is Red Wing, the person he regularly talks to. And he has a personal, that's the one he has a personal relationship with. And he isn't happy about the skinnies joining up. In particular, the one that has been assigned to the Roughnecks. And he asks about Carl, but is told it's classified. So, of course, you remember Carl ran into a bit of bother in the Tophet campaign. But there you go. You know, before you even revealed, you're like, wait, they're not really going to assign that skinny.
Yes.
Now, that is just, honestly, that's a terrible decision by Psychon.
Yes.
It really is. Any skinny, and you choose that one.
Yeah, and the fact that obviously that Razak, and he's obviously very high up in the chain of command, is being told basically, just your opinion doesn't matter. Basically, so it doesn't matter how high you are, we made the decision.
Oh, see, I kind of disagree with your high command. I think he's respected, but he's just a sergeant. And that's always a problem. But because of his personal relationship with Red Wing, he kind of gets around it a bit more, and he's able to kind of talk to her a little bit more straight. But even she's like, look, it's classified, we're not telling you anything about Carl, and when it comes to this skinny, you don't have a choice. You are still a lieutenant. You know, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You are right on that front. So we see the Roughnecks are in the gym as Higgins finds them and comments on the fact that they're all wearing armbands to honour Carl. He then reminds of what happened to Carl, and it's been 1 month since that occurred, so we have jumped a bit forward in time. Razak arrives, and Rika asks about Carl, but is shut down and then tells them they have a replacement for the lost trooper. It is a skinny, but not just any skinny, it's Tafai. Do you remember Tafai from Tophet? Basically, Colonel Tafai. He was the main skinny of that group, the one who captured them and stuff like that. The once leader of the skinnies, and of course the ones the Roughnecks blame for what happened to Carl. Razak orders Gossett to set up a talk box so he can communicate, but it turns out now that Tafai has learned to speak English. Convenient, you know. Well done for learning it so quickly.
I reckon he probably actually already knew how to speak it. He just didn't want to.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. What would have been fun, and what I would have personally done, to show development, is I would have Tafai speak English, but poor English.
Yes.
And then as we reach the next campaign, his English improves bit by bit. So by time of being around them and starts to learn more lingo, and his English gets better. So we see the development. Instead, he just comes out and he speaks with that clipped accent.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I feel like they could have done better with that. It's such a small complaint that I don't really have a problem with it. He then asks if we can wear an armband for Carl, but the rest are hostile to it. I agree with that. No, I agree with that. Tafai, you should know this was always going to be a problem. He must have prepared himself. He should not be asking for an armband to honour someone he didn't even know.
I do and I don't because what would they do in this situation? He was trying to save his people, his family. He's got children also on Tophet. He was trying to save his family, his people, his clan, and he killed a brain bug. Sorry. He assisted in killing a brain bug. Obviously, can't run the work. What do they want to do? Do they want to sit there and go, do you know what? I'll let all my people die just because one person. You know, said we would sacrifice one person for the greater good.
Yeah, but you're looking at it so analytically. You've got to talk about human nature. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, Carl was a blood member of that group.
This episode for me, okay, and was like the first sort of development of like a racist thing. Because he's an alien.
Okay.
That they straight away, because he's not a human.
It's there.
It is sort of. I mean, it's obviously it's around that sort of line. Because even during this episode, they obviously mentioned that you're just a skinny.
Skinny, yeah. Of course there is. Yeah, of course there's a racist element to it. Of course it is. It's you're different, and we don't like that. I think that's worse for some characters than others.
Yes.
I don't think that's Rico's modus operandi. I don't think it's Dizzy. It's Bruto. Yes. Exactly that. Exactly that. And part of that becomes as well, I think, because ultimately Rico is supposed to be Hispanic.
Yes.
So that so that element. But I do think you're right. I think you get that more from Bruto as a character. Yes. And weirdly enough, although again jumping way ahead, we would then reflect that Homefront with another character as well, more than anything else. Because, you know, that's what. So I do think it's there, and I do think you've got that element. You're different, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
And it's simple as that. So you're not wrong on that front. They do arrive at Tesca Nemoroso, as Psychon now believes this is the bug's food supply. And it's day 6 of the campaign. And can you believe it? The Roughnecks aren't the first people to be sent out. I actually went, my God, they're not the only goddamn troopers on this war.
Yep.
Razak gives the orders, and their job is to secure a strip of beach called Zegama Beach. Now, I've not read the book, so I don't know this, but this is from the film reference more than anything else. I know Zegama Beach as being a holiday hotspot, where Rico is given the opportunity to go and spend time there as a holiday, when his father's basically trying to blackmail him almost into not joining the mobile infantry. Zegama Beach, I always wanted to go there.
Yeah, no, so that for me, this show got a spot on with the book. It's in the book. It's a beach based off a jungle.
Right. So there you go. Well, yeah, because it should be noted as well in the book. I do know in the book that actually the first thing they do is deal with skinnies. Yeah. Skinnies don't even show up in the movie. So there you go. Yeah. Carmen arrives, talks to Dizzy, and in front of Tafai, Dizzy gives her a Carl arm band. I did feel a little twinge of sympathy for them because she does it on purpose to make sure he sees.
Right in front of him, yeah.
But again, Carmen knows Carl. She's got not just a relationship with him now. She went to school with him. So it's okay. The Roughnecks drop, but not before some speciesism from Bruto. So I actually wrote it in my notes. Yeah. So there you go. There's it is. Yeah, it's not so much racism because it's not about his skin colour. Yeah. It's more about his species. It's an ism. Yeah, it's an ism nonetheless. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what it is.
I bear in mind, Bruto is one of my favourite characters because he's developing over the entire show. Well, he's developing from being the dickhead from the first one to it gets worse and really good, and then obviously in the next 2 campaigns it improves. Okay. I wouldn't put him up there for me. Tafai talks to Higgins, but Bruto glares at him, so Higgins dismisses the skinny. That part hurt my feelings. Yeah. Because although the show was never really good at doing facial expressions, you do get a lot from both Tafai and Higgins here. Higgins uncomfortable. Yes. And Tafai just like, oh. I mean, again, you would have thought they would have learned from Chad.
Oh yeah, Chaz.
Yeah, Chad. Yeah. So the fact that and obviously for Higgins, he's doing it because basically one of his commanding officers has given the look, basically.
I don't even think it's about command. I think it's about the fact that it's like, it's just another trooper. I think if Rico give him a look or something like that, it wouldn't make a difference. It's like, whose side are you on? That kind of look more than anything else.
The winning side. Against the bugs.
It's a water drop, and I do get shades of Hydora here, particularly as some of the footage is reused. The troopers land and set off over the water, but are immediately attacked by plasma bugs who are trying to blast them from afar. The Roughnecks get some backup from Fleet, but they are hit and have to return to the Valley Forge. As the troopers approach the beach, they're attacked by an army of bugs, including Ripplers. One that is set on fire and then goes kamikaze, so Tafai tries to shoot it down, causing it to crash into the glider and knocking the speeders over. I was like, God damn it, Tafai. The first thing you do when you fuck this up.
So goddamn unlucky, seriously.
All the troopers end up underwater, but use the cover to walk on the seabed of the beach. Razak orders Tafai to scout the beach for cover, but doesn't offer him any backup. And I really hated this.
Yeah,
this is a my issue with it is this. That's not like Razak.
No.
I don't like that. Razak would not endanger a trooper just because he doesn't particularly like the person. That's so unlike him. He's putting Tafai in a very dangerous situation. You feel it, the way the scene plays out, you're like, what, you want him to be killed? It's not Razak.
Yeah, that's more Bruto for me.
Yeah, yes.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It's actually a stain on Razak's character for me. Tafai goes ashore and sees plenty of bugs and sees some craters he can use for cover. He is attacked by bugs though and fights them off. Approaching Ripplers get the rest of the squad's attention and they open fire from under the water. Tafai makes it to the cover but it's a close call with some bugs of course, and he calls the rest and they come ashore.
Yeah, again, this scene here really... I mean, actually, this pretty much this entire episode, Razak really...
Doesn't come across brilliant.
Because, again, this scene here, he then has a go at Tafai for clearing the beach and not doing his job. But it's like, is he meant to stand there and get attacked?
Yep.
So what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. After some more bug shooting and the whole team reconvene, Brutal has a go at Tafai, and Razak tells him that his orders were to scout and not secure. And even though I'm like, you're just being unreasonable now.
Yeah, just it's like bloody nitpicking everything.
Yeah, you are. You are trying to pick a hole in this. And you can kind of tell Tafia's getting a little annoyed here. Particularly when his life's just been put at risk. It's like, if you're Tafia, you got to be thinking, I don't need this bullshit. I want to come here to fight the bugs with you.
Yeah.
You know, and you're now trying to get me killed. Like, you completely understand it. But truth be told, if you watch the show up to this point as we have, you've probably got an inkling this is go one or two ways. And you referenced Chaz already, and you know it's either going to go that way, or we're going to get a hold to Tafia doesn't want to work with them and stuff like that. That's unlikely.
Well, I mean, if the bugs had brains, and they went to ski, look, these guys are treating like shit. Come join us.
Well, thankfully, the bugs don't have brains.
Yeah, of course.
At least brains in that sense.
Yeah. Come join us. Then, you know, I always thought that their mission was to scout other planets, defeat the bugs, and if you find allies, to help you because you need allies.
But then you could argue this is humanity all over, isn't it? We're the best.
Of course, yeah.
Absolutely. The rest of the Roughnecks advance to kill the plasma bugs, and Razak orders Tafia and Higgins to wait. A Rippler chases them down and almost gets caught, they almost get caught by it, but Razak shoots it down. And he then shouts at Tafia for not going back for Higgins. Higgins tries to defend the skinny, but Bruto joins in, and Tafia ends up apologising. You're like, God, this is a harsh episode. It's a harsh episode.
It's harsh, but again, I agree 50-50. Obviously, you don't leave someone behind.
Yep, this is a mistake in Tafia's part.
But this is Higgins, and Rico was getting a shit a couple of seasons ago.
Yep.
So you can't be more aggressive to him and not to Rico.
No, of course. There is this problem where it's like, no, this is actually a mistake in Tafia's part, but the unreasonable behaviour of both Razak and Bruto and a couple of the others up to this point makes them less sympathetic in this. It just feels like they're piling this shit on Tafia. And it's not enjoyable to watch, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, and bear in mind, this could be his first mission.
Yeah.
His first drop with a new team. He's not used to these people, so he has to get used to the way they work.
Yes, it is, and how good are they at war, basically, as well.
Exactly.
The plan is set in motion. They're going to destroy the bug fortification. Tafia then questions, and I was like, oh my God, Tafia, what are you doing? Razak's order regarding storming the fortification, but Razak just outright ignores him. Brutal then volunteers Tafia to stay behind and keep the beach secure, which Razak orders him to. And you're like, oh, again, on your own, not fair.
Yeah.
But don't question Razak.
Yeah, you know, obviously, everyone knows you don't question orders. It's commands. You follow the chain command. But again, leaving one guy by himself.
Unless that order is going to get you or others killed for sure.
Yes.
Or, you know what I mean, it's like evil. Like, never, you know, it's an evil order, that kind of thing. Let's shoot all these civilians.
Oh, yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in this context, you'd argue, don't question the orders. Now, technically, you'll find that Tafia was right, that kind of thing. But I don't like, again, the way to go about it.
But then again, I'll say again, because he's an alien, he doesn't understand our customs. So he doesn't understand that as a human, we don't challenge your officer.
Razak could probably have basically Tafia probably could have done a lot more. Maybe could have done some time on boot camp.
Yes, yeah.
But we do get an interesting scene as the Roughnecks make their way up. Higgins points out to Razak that his behaviour is very suspect, like the way you're behaving, and this actually seems to have some effect on Razak. I notice,
it does.
Like he almost goes, "Yeah, what the fuck am I doing?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so he's not completely gone there. Tafia continues to defend the beach, but no, things are wrong. And we then get a shot from above that suggests that the top of the mound they're climbing is swarming with Ripplers. Tafia tells the squad to hold and then starts to squawk and wave his arms around to get the Ripplers' attention. The rest of the Roughnecks thinks he's lost his mind, but they then see a squad of Ripplers fly out to get him. The noises and the actions, it's very silly.
Yeah, it's not a great moment for the show. But then, obviously, as he explains that, he recognises the sound of the creature from his planet.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it a little bit of a break because I just went, oh, well, think of a great movie like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. There was a scene in that with Sean Connery, Indiana Jones' father, Henry Jones Sr. gets...
The bird.
And he makes a quite funny noises there. So, yeah, do you know what I mean? It works. Yeah. Tafia has to defend himself, but the numbers are too great, so a few go back down to help him out. The Ripplers are dealt with, but not before Tafia almost gets it. The remaining squad make their way up until they're just below an outcrop that houses Ripplers, and they carefully ease up and kill them before launching grenades that drill into the fortification, ready to blow. They go back down and boom! It blows up and collapses, obviously. Mission accomplished. And it's fun to see them take off their helmets. I like that. It's a nice cool thing. And it looks like Tafai has earned the respect of the Roughnecks, except Rico, who still blames him for Carl. And then he attacks Tafai for not being human. So actually what I said at the start was technically wrong, because he then goes for his lack of humanity here as well. Yeah, everyone's kind of like, okay, cool, you helped us out. You know, you did a Roughneck thing and all that. Rico's like, the fuck? That ain't good enough. Yeah, you know?
Typical Rico.
Yeah, it is this aspect that you said upon where it's like, okay, maybe it's not so... Rico's harder to like in this one.
Yeah.
But he then does get some of the best stuff.
He does.
So, it's an opening episode of this campaign, and it's okay at best.
Yeah.
The new planet, because we're currently on a beach, doesn't... There's no... Like, this new one, I was like, oh, it just feels like fucking Hydora again.
Yeah.
Water, beach, that kind of thing. Didn't really care for it. We will get better stuff now. I really like the introduction of the skinnies and to Fire as well, but this episode ended up creating more problems than it made, having Razak look worse because of it.
It does, yeah.
Although I do like the idea of having speciesism in your show. That's a hefty subject.
I like it, but I said going down further down other campaigns, that the one issue that I have is that it basically makes that to me, because Tavai's the only skinny you see.
Yep.
So is he the only one who joined the fight?
Well, supposedly all did.
Yeah.
But we you know, this is a common problem in the show where it's focused on the Roughnecks, and we're always laughing about how it's the Roughnecks. Like, there's later on, it's like, every time it seems like they're like, all right, cool, I've been awake for 3 days, time to get some sleep. 2 minutes later, Ray's like, come on, time to go, we've got another mission. And it's like, you know, people don't operate they're not going to be very good at their jobs if they're asleep.
I mean, it's one of those shows which obviously they are the main heroes.
Yep, so you focus on them.
They kill everyone, they save everyone.
Yep.
And sometimes they might get saved themselves.
That's it.
That's the basis of the show.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's fine. The next episode begins with Higgins telling us that it's day 23 of the campaign. And the Roughnecks are on patrol in a jungle near the beach. And apparently it's hot, and the Roughnecks are glad to be able to breathe. I do like the change in the outfit. Yeah. Although it's still the power suits, they almost got like their arms off now, like as if the sleeves are rolled up and the helmets are off.
I like it, but I'm surprised by that, because obviously those suits also protect armour too. And it may be boiling hot or whatever, okay? But
get your arm cut off.
Yeah,
fair point, no. Okay, yep. And it is nice as well to see natural life in this jungle. Yeah. So what this campaign now introduces is a natural flora and fauna. Natural creatures that live here. And that's okay, we haven't really seen that before.
Yeah, it just obviously shows that there's obviously different species on every planet.
Yeah.
So.
Razak gives them 5 minutes break, and Dizzy talks to Tafai about a picture he holds as his family. Tafai reveals that his wife is missing and his kids are back on his home planet. Then Rico does what might be the worst thing he does in the show. I was like actually angry at him here. He's a massive dick by bumping into Tafai, making him drop his picture.
Yeah,
it's a small thing, but it's so unnecessary. Yeah. It's so disrespectful. And Dizzy rightfully calls him out on it.
Damn right.
Rico defends his action because of Carl. Bruto then shows Tafai a picture of his son, which I thought was really sweet.
This is why I say obviously Bruto's development starts getting more now, yeah.
Well, weirdly enough, I think Bruto and Tafai will probably be the two that connect up the most out of all of the other ones. Yeah. The rest mock him and Bruto gets defensive. Razak notices, though, the wildlife seems a bit animated and tells them it's time to move out. Higgins is recording a flying bug when something attacks him. Okay, this is where we get a momentary horror touch. Tafai and Bruto talk about the latter's son not being enlisted, and it's nice to see character development for such a character. So I wrote it there that you were right, Bruto's getting a bit more and he doesn't want his son signing up and stuff like that. That might change.
Yeah.
Doc then notices that Higgins is missing, and when they go back to find him, they only find his camera. Rico picks it up and gets stuck in quicksand. Oh no, poor Rico. Tafai offers his hand, but Rico refuses it. Yeah, it's hard to like Rico in this episode.
Yeah, just let yourself die.
Yeah, but he's pulled out by Dizzy. As the only one with a full suit on, Tafai is sent into the quicksand in case Higgins went into it. So we should point here, the atmosphere. Tafai isn't able to breathe it.
Yes.
So he has to wear a full power suit. And that's why he's in one.
Yeah.
Rico is unhappy, that's Tafai, but Razak sends him and Gossard sends Rico and Gossard to patrol the perimeter. So he's getting on Razak's nerves.
Yeah, because obviously I think that scene where Razak actually has a go at Rico too.
Yeah.
But again, it also goes back to my argument about the fact that why they should all be wearing bodysuits. Because if Tafai wasn't there, Higgins is dead. If he went down, he's dead.
You would think the parasuits, considering all the things the parasuits has, like with regard to oxygen and stuff like that, that would have some sort of cooling ability.
Exactly,
yeah. We see they're being watched by something in the trees. Tafai goes in and reports that he can't see anything down there. Razak contacts Rico and Gossard to see if they've seen anything, but they also report back in the negative. At least until Gossard is snatched up in the air by some sort of web. You sort of see it come down and pull him up.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, basically, yeah. With the transmission being cut all of a sudden, Razak orders Tafai pulled out and everyone to reconvene on Gossard's location. He's gone though. Razak realizes they're being picked off and divides the team up into twos, putting Rico with Tafai, much to Rico's chagrin. But it's Razak who's then snatched and then Doc. So they're getting picked off one by one, and I like that.
Yeah, it's a really if this is a horror movie, it's like really,
Yeah, it's exactly that. Everyone gathers and Brrraains asks Tafai if his people ever fought some sort of stealth bug. Rico continues to be a massive dick, but Tafai doesn't rise to it, saying that they didn't. Brrraains, now in charge, gives the order to go up into the trees and start searching using jump jets. So this is jump jets are introduced here, I think, for the first time. Yeah, so it's kind of like it's a jetpack basically, but instead of being able to fly for too long, it kind of makes it glide more than anything else. As everyone searches, it's Bruto that comes across some sort of spider bug hybrid and chases it down. He's knocked out of the air though and lands on a springy but sticky web. The creature then comes down and snatches him away. This spider bugs. What do you make of the design?
I actually quite liked it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so I mean, it was quite colourful too. Actually, a purple, a bit of purple, a bit of green.
Yeah,
it looked good.
Yeah, it looks like a bloody spider.
Yeah,
It's simply as that. The squad is now down to 3. Rico, Dizzy, and Tafai. And I'm like, maybe call us in, guys.
Yeah.
Like maybe call us in the higher command that you're getting picked off bit by bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope. Dizzy asks Tafai what they should do, which then annoys Rico because even in this situation, Rico can't stop being a dick. And as he refuses to let Tafai take command, a spider bug starts to come down from the tree behind them, which Dizzy sees.
Yeah, again, Rico being a dick because obviously Tafai is a colonel.
Yep, so he would have more command experience. Yeah. She knocks Rico and Tafai to safety and tries shooting it, but it doesn't seem to do much damage. We then see that it shoots out web like a spider and cocoons her before taking her away. Tafai tries to shoot her, but Rico stops him, claiming that it might hit Dizzy, which Tafai refutes. Regardless, they give chase. So at this point, I realised what this episode was. I was like, this is this kind of episode where the two people who hate each other are the last two standing and are forced to work together. Yeah. It's very classic cinema.
Yeah,
and I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
The spider bug is able to knock them from a tree though, and the pair are almost crushed by a falling branch. Once up, Rico blames Tafai again, and Tafai points out that it has left a trail, and Rico tells them to stay put. So what the fuck are you doing, Rico? Tafai points out that the monster, the bug, is trying to isolate them, and they probably shouldn't give it the opportunity.
Yep.
He connects himself to Rico using a rope from his suit. And I'm like, am I supposed to feel sorry for Rico? He's been a right arsehole here.
Again, it's Tafai's being a leader and being smart.
Yes, absolutely. They follow the spider bug, finding remnants of web before coming across a big cocoon that houses an indigenous bird. They cut it open, finding it still alive inside, to realise the squad still has a chance. I actually like that. The whole cut it open, it flaps its wings and bugs off.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's good. So it is...
It's like a typical spider.
Yeah.
It cocoons you before it feeds.
Yes, absolutely. Something is wrong with Tafai though, as he is sluggish and slow. When Rico demands to know what is wrong, Tafai claims he can feel a chill, which Rico dismisses and moves on. Yeah, fair enough. Doesn't really get it, doesn't really care.
Yeah.
You just got to move on. Deeper into the jungle they go, and I'm like, call it in! Your whole squad is missing.
Yeah.
Call it in.
That didn't make sense, because that's the first thing you do.
Yeah, like tell command. Yeah. Exactly that. Into a swamp where Tafai gets attacked by some sort of alligator, so we're still kind of seeing the creatures of this world.
Yeah.
And Rico shoots it. They leave and climb a cliff, and Rico begins to suspect that the trail they're following is a wild goose chase set up by the bug, because they're kind of going everywhere with no real sense. Tafai slips and falls off the cliff, only saved by the rope that's connecting the two of them. He then tells Rico to disconnect, but Rico refuses, trying to hold him and bring him up. Rico tells Tafai to use his jump jets, but Tafai pulls out his gun, and you're like, there was a momentary where he was like, what are you doing? That kind of thing. But he actually shoots past Rico into the spider bug that was about to grab Rico. I really like the scene.
Yeah.
Because how fucking scary are these creatures? The moment Rico was at risk, The moment he was alone, he was like, now I'm going for him.
I love the fact that these bugs are not like standard bugs. They take a lot to kill. It's 2 or 3 shots. And they have a lot of bullets.
Yep. It runs off and Tafai uses his jump jets but collapses in the air, landing on Rico. Rico pushes him off and Tafai says that he has earned another debt. Rico says that they're even before they realise his suit is damaged and that he's suffering from hypothermia. So I love this stuff. You're like, okay, this is interesting. A real problem as well.
Yeah.
It's always great when you have an issue. The squad are all gone. Mm-hmm. Second issue, Rico and Tafai don't get along. Mm-hmm. Third issue, here's make it worse. Tafai's suit's damaged and he's got hypothermia and might die. Like, these are all you piling it on and making it seem unwinnable.
Well, yeah, obviously he comes from a very warm planet too, so obviously
which is the whole atmosphere thing. But they need Gossard to repair it, so they're forced to keep on moving. Tafai is not in a good way and seemingly reaching a delirious state, calling for his wife. They get inside a cave where Rico starts to provoke the Skinny, suggesting that Tafai is the reason she's probably missing, or that she ran off with someone else. Then he goes after Tafai's kids. Enough is enough for Tafai, who attacks him, but Rico reveals that he did it on purpose to wake him up. I'm like, okay, all right, I didn't hate that.
I'm gonna give Rico the benefit of the doubt because it's very smart what he did.
Yep.
Because he gave him the energy,
passion. He got him fired up.
Is Rico being honest, or is he still being a dick?
No, I'm gonna
50-50. I'd say, mate.
There's been a dick, and then the things he says is pretty fucking hard. I buy into that. I wanted to get your adrenaline spiking. I wanted to get you moving and lively, and it works.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it. But his plan B, it's time for that. So Rico cuts the rope, and we then cut to the Tafai wandering alone as the spider bug approaches and wraps him in web. And we see that he has a tracker on him, which Rico is following, which he does and finds the spider bug's nest, going inside, finding a giant cavern with cocoons everywhere. I like the plan.
Very smart plan.
I like the plan. It's not a bad idea. It's risky, but also, like, what else are you going to do at this point?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it also does 2 other things, which, as a kid, I didn't realise.
Yep.
But obviously, it keeps him warm.
Yeah, they will say that, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously... I'll wait until we get to that shit before.
Yeah, there is a risk, of course, as you are banking on the fact that the spider bug A isn't going to be like, no, this guy's dying, I don't really want him to feed, or that he actually keeps them alive.
Yep.
Because that bird could have been a lucky anomaly, and in fact, all the rest have already had their blood drained.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? That would have been quite a dark ending to the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The end.
The spider bug attacks him, though, and Rico fights. He tries to run, but Rico doesn't let up, chasing it down and doing battle. It manages to knock Rico down with web, but Tafai then breaks out of his cocoon and attacks. And I got a real video game boss fight here.
Yes.
This is what this felt like. You make it to the end of the level, here you go. Elden Ring time, man. Off you go.
I was thinking like more like Duke Nukem 3D. Literally, all you see is the gun standing in front of you.
True.
Yeah.
No, you are right on that visual. Yeah, you are right. More of that kind of like first-person shooter.
As a kid, I could never figure out, but obviously now my personal opinion of why Tafai was still awake. Because all the other Roughnecks are dazed. Because they ain't got their suits on. He's still got his mask on, so he was never affected by the cocoon.
I think I didn't give it any thought, but you bringing it up and saying it like that, it makes sense. I didn't actually because we do this a lot through it. We say, oh, that's a nitpicky. That's a nitpicky.
Yeah, it is.
But that's why I don't think I gave it any thought. But you gave it thought, and like it makes sense. Yeah.
Because obviously when they free the other troopers, they're all weak and dazed.
Yeah,
like they've been
maybe
drugged,
that kind of thing. It's good explanation. Together, though, they're able to put the bug down once and for all. Tafai collapses after, and it seems like he's about to die, so Rico desperately searches amongst the cocoons for Gossard, uncovering the other troopers before finding him. You already know the relationship's changed. Rico's not just trying to make an effort to save the other trooper, he's desperately trying to save him.
He's realised that he was wrong about Tafai.
I wouldn't necessarily realise he knows he's wrong. It's more the fact
judged him too.
Yeah, like he's seen like, okay, look, this, and I also don't necessarily think Rico's thinking of Tafai as Tafai here. I think he's thinking he's a trooper and I'm not going to let someone die. Like Rico's a dick, but he's not that much of a dick. Yeah. I think he eventually finds Gossard, drags Gossard over to him. He's woozy, but does manage to sort something out, and the last to be taken out is Bruto. As Tafai struggles to get to his feet, Rico offers his hand, which Tafai takes. As Rico says, hating Tafai takes too much effort. Great fucking line.
Great line, yeah.
Because it doesn't say, I like you. It doesn't say, we're friends now. Which I'm glad the episode didn't do, because I don't love the idea of it being like, oh, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
After everything they've gone through, it's more the fact, look, it's so much fucking effort to hate you.
Yeah, so like
I'd rather not.
Respect,
It's begrudging respect. Yeah. Exactly that.
You missed Bruto's line too, man.
Oh,
save the best for last.
Yeah, that's it. Rico takes his armband off and hands it to Safai, and he's now an ape, as Higgins points out. So it's good. In the first 2 episodes, they spent time establishing Safai, the issues, and have now resolved them nicely.
Yeah.
I was quite happy with it.
Yeah.
Day 45 of the Tesca campaign, and it seems that the spider bugs are high in number, and the Roughnecks are doing battle with a ton of them. Smaller ones, though, because there's basically 2 types. Smaller, more kid ones, and then the big boss-like ones. They're running short on ammo, so Razak orders a retreat. The Roughnecks arrive at a river that seems clear, and they clear the web off themselves. Gossard gets out his unit, but is attacked by a surviving bug which managed to hurt him. His eye, in particular. And then Doc puts a patch on before Razak orders him back to the base. I should say, when I said Gossard gets out his unit, I don't mean he gets his dick out. I mean he gets out of his marauder, gets out of his unit. I missed the word out. I realised as I was saying it and I was reading it, I'm like, I just sounded like he and it's like, it's not that kind of show. It would have been very funny if it had happened. Just a complete change. But if he gets out of his marauder, gets attacked by a bug, and basically gets his eye fucked up. We see that Gossard has been checked out and has a cornea abrasion, meaning he has to wear an eye patch for a bit. He can stay in active duty, apparently. I'm like, can he?
No.
Can he not just have a break until his eyes heal?
I mean, surely he's shooting a gun, so like, he's
Your
always
depth perception,
going to be blind on one side, yeah.
In fact, Razak points out he can't drive the Marauder, and then looks at Rico, and Rico refuses to go in it, and Razak orders him to use it. And it's like, well, if you can't drive a Marauder, how is being on foot with a gun any better? I don't quite follow. And we'll see this a lot, where people in Roughnecks are hurt or injured or probably should take a break. And it's like, oh no, you can still fight.
I mean, it'll still be useful for his like his skills and like techniques and that, but shooting wise, as a commander, a lieutenant, he's more of a hindrance.
I think he's more of a hindrance than help, actually, in all of that. He's not a lieutenant, is he? No, because the lieutenants are Razak and Bruto. Yeah. Just the 2 of them. Gossard...
Sergeant, he's a sergeant, is he?
I think he might be a sergeant. I think sometimes the ranks aren't quite clear. Yeah, and the only one ever really, other than Razak and Bruto, who are called, because they call Bruto a Sarge.
Yeah, so he's a sergeant, yeah. Razak lieutenant. Maybe Gossard's...
Yeah, sorry, Razak's lieutenant, not a sergeant.
A colonel?
He may I think they're just privates. I think they're just privates thinking about it, because Doc's the doctor, but I don't know if that's like a specific rank. No, you're right. I was calling Razak a sergeant, but Razak's the lieutenant, LT. Jesus, of course. Razak then gives them orders. Command thinks they know where the spider bugs are coming from, and that a brain bug is there. They're to capture it if they can, otherwise kill it. He says they have been given the op because of their experience with brain bugs, and I was like, mate, don't even try to pretend that's why. You've been given it because you're the only ones who are ever given the orders.
Yeah, exactly.
The joke is that explanation makes total sense.
It does,
yeah. We'll send a team that has had experience with brain bugs. Yeah. The only thing I've got against that is it's like, oh yeah, Razak and Roughnecks, they've dealt with brain bugs. Yeah, but we want this one alive, and they keep killing them.
Well, I mean, the squad dealt with them, but they only survived twice because of Carl.
Yep, which is exactly what Rico points out. Yeah. He says both times they've had a nightmare against them, and both times they've survived because of Carl, who isn't here. But Razak's like, yeah, mate, whatever. We're doing it anyway. Well, obviously. Later, they're heading up the river as Higgins gets startled by the local wildlife. And we realise, Tesca, ignoring the bugs themselves, Tesca's a dangerous place. You've got the spiders, you've got the alligators, you've got these giant flying birds. I forget, like the joke is the bugs themselves aren't actually the real problem about Tesca. No. It's more the actual wildlife.
You haven't actually seen any major bugs yet.
No, the standard bugs we would normally run into. When we say bugs, we're not referencing the spiders and things like that. We're talking about the fuckers from Clondathu. Yeah. And those monsters. Not the ones we see experiencing this. There's a point where you start to believe, actually, are the bugs anything to do with this?
Exactly, yeah.
They're starting to get attacked by spiders, but are able to deal with them easy enough. Razak decides they're just sneaking under the water, and we see the boat transform into a sub. It's like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Convenient.
Press the button.
On board, Dizzy says that Brutus stinks, and he says that real men smell and real women like it. And I was like, don't say things like that. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
But hilariously, he's backed up by Tafai, who claims that his people are chosen by their scent. Shit like that is what this show really does really well. Is it does actually create these bonds by lines like this. And Tafai, this is the start of what I ended up really liking about Tafai, which is his culture imprinting into the human world and how it connects in other ways while still being alien.
Yep.
The group arrive at the coordinates and see there are bugs above and below the water. Before they can make a decision, they're spotted by some of the things under the water, but the local wildlife attacks them first. So we now actually have bugs from our world, these sort of wormy ones. And the wildlife don't like them, which is, I thought, a really interesting touch. But it also that raised questions. Are you in the right place? Because if this is their food supply, there's a lot of wildlife still here. That's what I mean. That bit of luck for the Roughnecks gives them a chance to connect the wall and drill a hole to climb into an underground cave system. But inside, their routes are blocked by the local wildlife that starts to flood the system before a load of small bugs arrive to seal up the holes. They seem unaware of the Roughnecks as they also seal up the hole they made. I thought this was really interesting. The way these almost like drone-like creatures came along and just seal everything up.
I found it very interesting, but I also thought that the Roughnecks were a bit stupid here.
Right.
Because I would have been a bit suspicious. Like, is this some sort of trap? Why are they attacking us?
Yeah, I mean,
do they want us here for a specific reason?
Well, yeah, I mean, it could be a search for the brain bug.
Yeah.
So there's an argument to be said that they know, like, if we know for the brain bug, there's likely to be guards and things like that. It's part and parcel of that. And these creatures, these bugs, are here to make sure it doesn't flood. The chamber doesn't flood. That's why they seal it up.
And obviously, obviously I know it's a TV show, but going too scientific, I really don't think that web's going to hold a 10-ton pressure of water.
You are, that's nitpicking again because
I know, that's too much.
It's a sci-fi TV show. The web could be super strong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Razak does cut a hole in it, so that breaks that argument straight away. He literally just cuts a hole in it, and sees the spiders are taking seal sharks. They're called these sort of natural underwater creatures captive before they then turn your attention to the Roughnecks. So it's interesting. They seal it up. And then we're like, all right, now deal with our enemies that are here. Once they've dealt with the bugs, they head into the cave tunnel. And Gossard has ordered to remove the ship so the corridor they're in floods once they've left in a hope that will cause some confusion amongst the bugs. I thought that was a terrible idea. I was like, okay, you're going to make it harder and harder for you to get away. And when you want to get away with speed, which you will, you kind of fuck that one up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Doc, having mapped the tunnels, thinks he's found a chamber that might fit a brain bug. So off they go, finding a chamber full of spider bugs and eggs, seeing that the cocoons are being used to feed the young. Love this. There's actually some gross imagery here. Doc notes the bugs seem to combine in the fluids of creatures to evolve themselves. So that's an interesting aspect.
It is, because obviously
this will further tie into other bug ideas in later episodes. Later campaigns, shall I say. Razak orders that everything is destroyed and orders an airstrike as there is no brain bug. So it's established there's no brain bug. We've just found some sort of fucking experimentation chamber. Brutal contacts the Valley Forge and reports back to Razak they have agreed and will bomb the tunnel in 16 minutes. It's time to leave. So Gossard reducts the sub, way laughing.
I love how literally they report now. Oh yeah, by the way, you got 16 minutes to
get out and then we'll bomb it. Yeah, that happens a lot in this show, where it's like, okay, cool, can you drop a bomb here? Right, you've got 3 minutes. What?
What?
When we leave, you drop the bomb.
It's your fun. Actually, hang on a second. We haven't found it. Cancel the order and then leave. And then go, oh, by the way, I just saw I was wrong again.
Yeah. Gossard reducts the sub and the rest of the Roughnecks head off. Doc sees that the Marauder is running out of power as the group are attacked by bugs. They fight them off and try to push on, arriving back to the ship. But the Marauders are slow though, and Rico's trying to hold the bugs off. Doing so, he accidentally floods his section of the tunnel. The floor collapses and Rico is washed down another tunnel, forcing Razak to close up the sub before it floods. So yeah, Rico's in a sort of bother.
Again, very, very bad planning by Razak here. Because surely before you even get out there on the Marauders, you make sure they're fully charged.
No, that's saying that's making the argument that they weren't.
Or was it power failure?
There's an argument to suggest that underground maybe there's more of a power drain, maybe it's simply they weren't supposed to ever be used to that extent.
Maybe the battery power with the solar power.
Yeah, maybe. May very well be. Never really think about that. Yeah. Brewer says they have 7 minutes to find Rico before the bombing starts, and Doc points out his Marauder has run out of power, so Rico can't be far behind. As Rico continues to be washed through the tunnel, his Marauder is low on power. Razak contacts him before the signaling goes. Rico tells him not to come for him and he will meet them outside. Good from Rico.
Yeah.
You haven't got time for this. I'm being washed wherever. We'll meet up. It makes sense to me. Rico orders the computer to shut down non-essential power, which includes the radio, to conserve power to move. He comes across a lot of bugs and fights his way through them without shooting. But again, the ground collapses, but this time he falls all the way out into another part of the jungle. I didn't get this at all. Yeah. I did not get this at all.
He's still underground, so how's he...
Yeah, he was under the water and underground.
Way down, so how did he get from
because he got washed further down.
Yeah.
Alright, let's presume he got washed outwards.
Yeah, like a slide, like a sort of tunnel, I think. Yeah.
Let's presume then, it can only be that the area of water they were in maybe leads to a cliff that has waterfall down to a lower section of the planet. It can only be that, right?
Yeah.
It can only be that. And he uses the last of his suit power to shoot the following bugs. Rico gets out, but a bug is still alive and pounces him, stabbing Rico in the stomach. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's so rare. I know we had Gossard get his eye hurt, but like it's such a nothing injury.
Yeah.
For Rico to get stabbed in his stomach, I was like, ooh.
And there's blood here too, man.
Yeah, like
a lot of blood.
Blood, yeah, my God. Rico is able to fight it off, but he's badly wounded by this.
Again, this is my argument of why they should have been wearing their suits. Because maybe the suit would have protected the injury.
Well, but the Marauder's supposed to do that, isn't it?
Of
so
course.
That's the problem. There was a consistent sort of collection of problems here in a row that's kind of just resulted in, this is bad news for Rico. Yeah. He attempts to stop the bleeding as we see the rest of the Roughnecks have lost his beacon with the Marauder being down. And Gossard suggests, if go to the last location, his beacon was activated. Yeah. The Valley Forge contacts them and says they only have a few minutes. Rico is losing a lot of blood and calls to Carl. He collapses as a gatory thing. One of the alligators comes to attack him. He tries to aim his pistol but is too weak. I really love this.
It's a great thing, yeah.
It's awesome. It's very much like, oh wow, is Rico about to die here?
Yeah, because his face is all blue too.
Yeah, it's the weakness of holding the pistol.
Yeah.
It's going to be the weirdest comparison I could possibly make. But it reminds me, particularly as the fact that he doesn't die, a rocket launcher then hits the creature and Dizzy arrives. Saving Private Ryan. And we're in the Saving Private Ryan with Tom Hanks' character is shooting a pistol at the tank.
I was thinking of Mass Effect 3 when you're walking towards the beam and the Reaper at the end, and obviously you're injured and you're like trying to shoot the slow motion.
It's a good comparison as well. Yeah. It is.
But yeah, Saving Private Ryan is much better. Yeah.
So yeah, Dizzy arrives, kills the alligator, and Razak orders Rico moved as the place is about to be bombed. The Valley Forge launches its bombs, and the Roughnecks dive under the water in their ship to avoid the devastation. Smart.
Yeah.
They're still hit by the shockwave under the water, but emerge okay. All but Rico, who is pretty beat up. His kidney is shredding and he's bleeding internally. Rico says that he is tired and he closes his eyes. And I was like, oh my God, what a cliffhanger. If you're watching that weekly,
yes.
What a cliffhanger.
When we were kids, bearing in mind that literally we watched this like every morning at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
it was one a goddamn week.
Yeah.
Or one a day, whatever it was. And that was annoying.
That is a hell of a cliffhanger.
It was, man.
Really good. Well done them. It's alright though, we're back already. You don't have to wait. To find out what happens next. We then see a football game that mirrors a part in the movie. Rico losing focus because he can see Carmen talking to some guy and Dizzy hit him in the head. They start to complete the play, but Rico gets distracted by seeing Carmen leave her seat with the guy. He's then bundled to the floor by the opposing team. And interestingly, the commentator is Carl.
Yes.
Did you notice that?
Nope, I didn't actually.
Okay.
That's my first time earlier.
And we see Dizzy come over and give him a disappointed look. So this mirrors the film. If you remember, there's a football game, a sort of weird modern football game going on. And in that, Rico's distracted, again, by seeing Carmen, who's his girlfriend, being spoken to by Xander.
Yep.
No, sorry. Yeah, no, Xander. Yeah, Xander's on the opposite team.
And
flirting with Carmen.
Only difference with
There's a lot of differences in this.
Because in the show, they're not boyfriend and girlfriend.
No, that's right.
Yes, in the film they are.
So the difference is this: is they're not boyfriend and girlfriend. He just fancies the pants off her.
Yes.
It's not Xander. It's just some random guy in the crowd that she walks off with and stuff like that. The whole Dizzy trying to get him focused works. Although in the movie it's done better. She hits him in the head.
She does, but so obviously in the actual film, they something stupid how they met they're on opposite teams, and then they met at the game, and then suddenly he's her commander. There's too much coincidence. Way too many coincidences for that to happen.
Yeah. When we get to this show, we'll probably do a little bit of a talk about certain things the show did better than the movie and stuff like that. We'll get to that, I think, because there's some interest. Xander, there's no comparisons between the Xander of the film and the Xander of the show.
So different.
So different. Yes. But I thought the Caribbean commentary thing was a hint towards us being in Rico's mind, as we will see.
Yeah.
That because Carl's such a significant character for him. But after the game, we see Rico calls out to Carmen. She waves at him and leaves with the guy she was with arm in arm. So like I said, if you weren't really... I mean, we should have been. If you're watching the show up to this point, you know Carmen and Rico aren't in a relationship. You know that. As Dizzy and Carl say, who are standing nearby, ouch. That is an ouch moment. Like Carmen, she's like, hi, hey buddy, I'm going back to bang this guy. Yep. You know what I mean? As Dizzy pours a bucket of liquid over him, we flash to Rico's current state, which is him in a liquid regeneration tank hooked up to machines. A spike in his EKG is noted, but the fact that he has also been in a coma for 2 days is also important. So basically Rico's in a coma in this tank, and he's remembering his past, really.
Yeah.
And it's a really good stuff for us, because it starts to fill in some of the blanks of these earlier defined relationships. I thought it was cool.
Again, it's also has a sort of similar to the film too, and he's in a tank in the film, but that's why a leg injury.
Yes. Film, yes, but they do again hint on this as well, because the surgery is apparently successful, and the tank is healing outward trauma. But Rico was clinically dead when he was brought in, so he did die.
Yeah, he did die, yeah.
I thought that was a strong touch, and the doctor thinks he may never come out of a coma. Dizzy wants to stay with him, but Razak says no. And we see it's day 48 of the campaign. Higgins explains that the Roughnecks on patrol protecting a base on the beach. Brewer complains about having to drive the Marauder to Dizzy. Gossard blames himself as he should have been the one in the suit, but Dizzy gets Dizzy's back. He gets Dizzy's back up when he suggests Rico is going to die. It's a good touch there as well. Gossard blaming himself because obviously Ben got injured. He'd have been in a Marauder, and then none of this may have happened, or at least wouldn't have happened to Rico. But also you also get Dizzy's frustration because they're kind of talking about as if there's no coming back for this for Rico.
Because I also think that if Doc had been driving it, Doc would have been more...
Doc was driving one.
Gossard would have realised that the battery was going to die because Rico wasn't...
Very good at... Rico wasn't good at it. Gossard would have understood maybe things more about it and never even got into the situation. But before they can go any further, the flying wildlife scatter around them, alerting to the arrival of bugs. The Roughnecks are on fire and Dizzy is almost crushed by an arriving plasma bug. It turns out, though, that the bugs aren't after them. Nope. They're trying to get past.
Yes.
The Roughnecks let them go and note that the other wildlife also seem to be running away. As Brewer says, what do they know that we don't? Yeah. And I was like, ooh, that's a cool touch.
Very cool scene. Yeah. The bugs are scared. Then it's got
the wildlife are scared, something bad. And we didn't see a storm is brewing overhead. And I was like, oh, cool, we're going to do like a monsoon sort of thing. And that's going to be really cool, all that. I'm going to, let's be honest with you, I find this actually very disappointing in the end.
It is, yeah.
Like, what they implied and what it turns out to be is a bit like, oh, is that it? But it does, I guess, tie into the overall story.
Yeah.
Back in Rico's head, he is in a class staring at Carmen as Razak does a scene that's well known, the difference between a citizen and civilian.
Yep.
And obviously I remember that from the movie. Dizzy gives an answer that Carmen does before Razak picks on Rico, seeing that he is distracted. Rico doesn't have an answer and Razak calls him a washout. Carl then prompts Rico to give an answer that then pleases Razak. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Of course, remember it for Michael Ironside who plays Razak in the movie.
Yeah.
And what was it, Rico? What's the answer? It's textbook answer that Rico basically reads.
Pretty much, yeah.
We then cut to graduation and see Rico talking to Carmen about enlisting. She talks about her dreams of being a pilot, and Rico suggests that he wants to be a pilot too. Nope. Yep. Carmen then goes off, and Dizzy arrives cutting to her looking at Rico in the tank. I love these cuts. the cuts from his memories to then why. Like, it's almost like in his coma, he's sensing the people around him.
Yeah, because it also shows, obviously, her feelings towards him too.
Yeah, this is an important bit of development here as well. It's always been hinted at that she might have more feelings for him than he does her, because he's obviously got puppy eyes for Carmen.
He sees her as a sister.
Yeah, absolutely. Dizzy momentarily gives Doc some shit, but he shoots her down and she apologises. Love that scene.
Yes.
She starts giving Doc shit and he's like, listen, ain't fucking anything I can do about it. It's up to him and stuff like that.
Her emotions get to him.
Yeah. And she rightfully apologises. He encourages her to keep talking to Rico as they don't know everything about comas. And this is obviously a real life situation. Yeah, talk to him, they might hear you.
Yep.
On the planet, it seems as though a big monsoon is coming, and apparently it's big enough to wipe the beach off the map. It's not! It's an evacuation with one problem. Rico can't be moved from his tank. And I was like, oh, cool. Interesting.
I mean, obviously, it's not comparing to the film, but obviously in the film, obviously, Zegama Beach gets destroyed by the bugs.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's hinting that it's going to get destroyed by a big storm.
Yeah, okay. Razor informs the Roughnecks that he's got permission for them to stay behind to protect the beach, but he does offer them the chance to leave if they want. And obviously, no one leaves. Of course not. Dizzy continues to talk to Rico and admits to loving him, and she tries to encourage him to say it back to her. This is some really good shit. Yeah. Like, this campaign started off really weakly, and then is transforming bit by bit into some of the strongest character stuff the show's done to date.
Yeah, definitely.
In Rico's head, he has arrived at Psychon HQ and is attempting to enlist to be a pilot. We see that Dizzy accepted for the mobile infantry and Rico is rejected based off his scores, and he was told that he'll be mobile infantry. Yeah. Further down the line, they're at boot camp where they meet Drill Sergeant Zim. And I was like, yeah, this guy's pretty accurate to the movie version. He gives the new recruit some serious shit. Definitely. Of course, I mean, the thing about Zim from the movies, he's played by an iconic actor. So you've automatically got that comparison.
Yeah,
so it's a little harder here. But I thought, I got the vibes. I thought
it was good, yeah.
It's Clancy Brown and Casey Wanning who are referencing from the movie. And just to further that, Rico laughs when Dizzy is given some shit, resulting in Zim turning his attention on Rico. Zim gives him hell, forcing him to do push-ups with his foot on his back. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Yep. Carmen arrives and is shocked to find that Rico is in a coma. She didn't know. No one want to tell her? And she's Rico's friend.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he'd got a message to her and said, look, probably want to let Carmen know that Rico, you know what I mean?
I would have thought it too, but then it could have been many different reasons. Maybe
she could have been out on patrol, yeah. Dizzy confronts her about the fact that Rico loves her and she knows it. She asks if Carmen can ever love Rico and Carmen can't answer. This is difficult stuff. I really like this as well. This show has made it perfectly clear that Carmen does not feel about Rico the way Rico does about her.
Yes.
And now we've got this situation where Dizzy's almost trying to guilt Carmen into caring or loving for Rico. Yeah. And it really does create shades of grey.
It does, yeah. I mean, especially we'll get to more at the end of this episode, but yeah.
Yeah, it really does. And in further campaigns, I have a big question that will have to come up. Yes. I'm hoping you can answer. On the beach, the evacuation was complete. The doctor looking after Rico leaves too. And I was like, fuck you! Like, you couldn't have stayed.
I know.
Like, you're the one looking after him. Good God. Carmen is told to leave by Razor, but she wants to stay, suggesting they pretend the bad weather makes it difficult to contact fleet. I was like, yeah, that's a good touch, because ultimately, the Valley Forge, Marlowe is never going to let Carmen stay. You're a fleet officer. Get your ass back to fleet and whatever. So they pretend like, oh no, the radio's going out. Oh no. And it's the calm before the storm. Back in Rico's head, we see him much further along in his training, about to take part in a live fire exercise. The fake battlefield looks awfully real, and it stops Rico in his tracks. So I like that as well, where he's almost like, this is overwhelming. The monsoon is hitting on the beach, and the Roughnecks are trying to set up sandbags. A lightning strike then hits and conveniently hits the generator. And I was like, well, that's just unlucky, isn't it? You know, the thing that powers the facility and Rico's tank. The power goes off and jerks Rico back into his memories. This is some awesome shit. Yeah. The power surge is causing Rico to almost flash back and forth into his memories. It's a really cool touch.
I like the music here too. Because I really like sad music, and obviously Dizzy's like, she breaks down in tears. Yeah,
because it screams the end. If he's in a coma and this life supply is keeping him alive and it's going off, he's not going to survive.
Or gets red too, I think. It gets red in the background too.
It's a cool lighting system. Yeah, it's heavy stuff. So in Rico's memories, he's still in awe of what he sees, but is ordered on by Zim. Rico is a mess out there and falls into the mud, making him a washout. The situation causes a spike in his vitals back in the tank, and Rico flatlines. Dies. Carmen sees this and Doc attempts to bring Rico back. The electrical charge sends Rico back into his memories when he's grabbed by Zim and pulled back up. So you can see what they're doing here. Yeah. His memory of his events that occurred to him in boot camp is reflecting what's happening to right now. His friends or people that care about him, his instructor and all that, trying to bring him back to life. The analogy is really strong stuff.
I don't know why I just got on my head right now, but I've got a picture of like Rocky Balboa going, "Get up, you son of a bitch," because Mickey loves you.
Yeah, it's that same thing.
Yeah.
It is. It's a tale as old as time. Yeah. It's been done as a trope to death and stuff like that. But if it's done well, here's the thing about tropes: if it's done well and it makes you feel something, who cares? Yeah, and that's what it makes me feel something.
A better one, Fortress. You seen the film Fortress?
Yeah.
He's trapped in his mind, and then his wife pulls him out as a baby from his hand. Sort of like that. He's trapped in his own mind, and she has to go use the machine to make the programming.
I cannot believe we're talking about the passion of this to a iconic film like Rocky, to not just referencing a bad movie, but a Christopher Lambert movie. And I know the scene you're talking about because I'm laughing. Do you know why I'm laughing? Because of the stupid look in his face when that's happening. That is a terrible reference.
Okay,
I get it. It's the same thing.
We'll use the Rocky one.
But fucking Fortress, man. I haven't seen that movie in yonks. Good God. Doc is able to bring Rico back and points out that the tank has its own reserve power, but he's just used most of it to bring Rico back. Great touch as well. To do the electrical charges, he used loads of the power. On the beach, Carmen tells Razak of the problem. In Rico's head, Zim encourages them to get up and fight, and Rico starts to. So again, fight. That element. Stop just lying down. The storm is causing problems, and Gossard says that he can't fix the generator. Carmen suggests to use her ship, and the group head off to get it. So I like that touch. It's like, my ship's a fucking power supply. Let's use that. Rico meets up with the other MI troopers and encourages them on. So we're flashing back, forth between what's happening on Zagama Beach and what's happening in Rico's head.
Again, though, if there was communication, I don't think Marlowe would be willing to give up a ship.
For an MI trooper?
No way.
No, we'll actually... Marlowe is a character that occasionally pops in mainly to give some orders. Later, he'll have a little bit more to do, and you'll also see more of what Sycon's head think of MI. Because that's something that hasn't come up a lot, the idea that MI are the grunts and the expendable lot. Rico is actually quite cocky in the battlefield now, and he and Zim take the last bunker and get the flag. But in the celebration, Rico fails to notice a robot coming up behind him. Zim pushes Rico out of the way and takes the bullet instead, and Rico calls for a medic. Obviously, this scene was done in the movie. It was done with a nobody character, though, and it was seen as Rico's failure, resulting in him taking lashings and then becoming a washout because of that. On the beach, Carmen and Gossard are trying to use the ship for power, but a big wave starts to watch the ship out of position. The incident with Zim has affected Rico, and he's quitting the MI, so they're doing that again. Even though Zim is going to be fine and out of a tank, and will be out of a tank in a few days, so it's not like Zim died. In the movie, someone died from it. Dizzy tries to talk him round, but Rico calls himself a washout. And then we flash back to Doc saying that we're losing Rico. Gossard and Carmen are desperately trying to get the power sorted. Dizzy demands that Rico doesn't give up, and that is mirrored in his memories. The power reserves run dry, and Rico is on his own now. Doc's like, he's on his own now. This episode is just wonderful.
It's perfect,
Wonderful. Gossard and Carmen manage to hook up the ship up and get the power running. And Rico then has a memory of being an MI trooper and leaving with Dizzy. And that scene there, I actually got a tingle there. It's just the way they shoot Dizzy and they make it seem okay, this is the end of this journey. And it's kind of like Dizzy was a major part of this along the way. And he wakes up out of his coma. And we see the storm passing and Sykon are back in the beach. The other Roughnecks make jokes about Rico's dramatic behaviour before the doctor tells them all to leave as he's still weak. Carmen then comes along and tells them she'll be back later. The last one to leave is Dizzy, who Rico thanks. She's a bit heartbroken. He doesn't remember what she told him, but leaves him a kiss in the tank anyway.
So they did this scene for me. I'm going to say it develops their relationship. Because for me it does, but obviously for a little bit for now.
What we have here is... it's weird, right? So without getting too far ahead, ultimately Dizzy's feelings for Rico are unrequited love, right? But Rico, I don't think loves Carmen.
No.
Rico's infatuated with Carmen. Yeah. That's the difference. Someone in school that he's always wanted to get with and stuff like that. And it's infatuation more than anything else. And to see the split between three characters.
Yes, that triangle. Yeah,
triangle. Yeah, is really, really interesting. This is the best episode of the show to date. It really, really is. I know it only works because of the characters we've built up to this point and the events that surrounded it, but ultimately, you can say, well, Rico survives and all that kind of thing, but it's the most damage and the most terrifying situation they put one of our troopers in and the main character to date. You will not believe this, folks, particularly if you've not seen this show and you're just following along with us. They're about to follow up with another banger.
Yep.
And so the last part of this campaign, and the Roughnecks are under attack and being forced to fall back. They're fighting more traditional bugs now, as now we've got more traditional bugs on this planet. It's been some time as Gossard is back in the Marauder with his eye fixed. And it's also nice to see Higgins giving out some shit too here, I thought.
Yeah.
Because it sort of suggests that Higgins is really, really coming into his own in this now. They use flamethrowers to fight off the raining bugs, and Doc points out that they're not making any ground at all. Brewer fakes out Higgins and falls into a small tunnel. He's given a beacon to plant so they can map it. So they're kind of trying to map these constant tunnels. Put a beacon down and then we can map it. The rest are ordered to secure the perimeter, but Razak accidentally gives an order for Rico, who's still not with them. So I like that as well. He's like, Rico, up, and then it just goes quiet. Higgins then informs us that it's day 61, and the Roughnecks have been operating without him for 15 days, resulting in them all being on edge. They're complaining to each other about having to map tunnels, and Razak orders them to shut up. So I like this start.
Yes.
As you kind of see there's a lot of tension in the group. Not just because they're one man short, but because the one man happens to be Rico.
And I mean, as I'm sure you mentioned it further down
in episode, Yeah,
he's a major. He's the key, the one that keeps them all together.
Yeah, the glue, basically. Sticks them together. We see that Rico is still in the tank and having nightmares about the squad being killed by bugs on Pluto. He finds a seemingly alive trooper, but when he lifts his head up, it's some sort of ghoul that screams. And I was like, fucking hell! That shit is that's some horror movie shit.
Yeah.
He wakes up in the tank and claims that he can hear noises. The doctor was unconvinced, believing it to be in his head, so pumps him full of drugs and Rico goes back to sleep. She then talks to her colleagues, suggesting that he is suffering from PTSD. And I was like, fucking hell, show. You're going to now deal with the PTSD as well. It's incredible. Higgins is pulled out of his tunnel by Doc, but Dizzy is still crawling through hers. I had a thing here where I was like, oh yeah, I thought she had claustrophobia.
Yes.
Then I remembered, and that's my bad. It's Carl removed it from her head. Rico's nightmares continue, snapping out and screaming that the bugs are coming. And we do kind of then see some sort of mind control runs running through a tunnel, but it's done in a way that it's like a colour scheme makes it look like it's almost dreamlike.
Yeah, it's like a flashback sort of
thing. Yeah, like a flashback, Dizzy comes to a fork in her tunnel and Razak orders her to be taken out. When she emerges, she gets in Gossard's face about his shooting and he gives it back to her. Brewer then joins in and Doc gets involved. And Razak has had enough and the group all head back. Later, Razak and Dizzy arrive to see Rico, but Carmen is there already. Rico is healing, but his return to active duty is questionable. Razak then goes to the doctor, but before he can go, Rico asks him if he can hear that. So you got this constant thing about Rico thinking he can hear things. We then cut to Doc arguing with Rico's doctor, who is planning to order him to be what they call Sectioned 8. Basically, mind wipe to clear his memories. It's very naughty, but it's a way to get past PTSD, basically. Rico, though, is not doing himself any favours as he tries to get Carmen to believe him about what he hears. The doctor points out to Razak that what will happen to Rico is procedure, and that Rico will be fine. He just won't remember anything. She walks off, having not made a decision yet, though. So we're getting some sort of new interesting developments here. We see Gossard sitting on a beach, staring at the sun when Dizzy comes up behind him and gets playful. He kind of not brushes her off, but he points out, he tells her, look, I like you, but you're Rico's girl, and that he isn't going to mess with that. Dizzy kind of gets defensive about that, and Gossard is basically like, behave yourself. We all know it. As she walks off, Xander asks her to help him in a volleyball game, which she agrees, getting very flirty with him, which makes Xander go, ooh. They play and win and then end up sharing a kiss.
I like this because obviously it shows that she knows that she can't get Rico. So basically,
I thought more she's trying to force it, trying to prove Gossard wrong, and the Xander's kind of a bit of a patsy here, more than anything else. Razak contacts his friend, Red Wing in High Command, and she says she can't help with the Rico situation. Razak tried to argue that if his mind is wiped, he should be sent back to the Roughnecks so they can teach him who he was. And she rightfully points out that that just isn't going to work for anyone. She points out, he goes back to you, he won't be the Rico you remember, but you're going to act like he is the Rico. Yeah. And it's going to cause you problems more than anything else. It completely makes sense. And Razak's pretty dejected about it.
Again, I'm torn, because you stuck to fire in that group, man. With
yeah,
the
but
issues.
Yeah, but you're talking... No, what... Right, and no, it for me it does, right? Remember when Carl comes back later on?
Yep.
Imagine that, but he can't remember who you are.
I suppose, actually, yeah.
But he doesn't remember you.
It would cause issues, actually, yeah.
That's the difference. Carl remembers who they are. Imagine Rico's just a grunt who doesn't remember, hasn't got the personality, the jokes, all of that.
Yeah.
It'd freak you out. Rico's talking to Carmen about their relationship, and it seems like Carmen is ready to start something with him. But he then starts to hear the noises again, and the doctor arrives and sends Carmen away before knocking Rico out. In the mess hall, Carmen sees Xander with Dizzy and gets a bit touchy about it, so hinting that as well. She then confronts Xander, who refuses to tell her about it. So again, you're hinting like... Basically, what they're constantly hinting is Carmen doesn't really like Rico.
Yes.
But kind of feels guilty to go along with this.
Yeah.
And really, she's got interest in Xander, but Xander doesn't have interest in Carmen. He has interest in Dizzy. Yeah. Oh my god!
A complete opposite of the film.
It's quite interesting though.
Yeah.
Later in the jungle, the Roughnecks are returning to the tunnels they were mapping before, but the transmitters aren't there anymore. Okay. The Roughnecks are still bitching and moaning at each other when Tophai sees the marker out of the tunnel on a big mound of dirt nearby. It seems as though the hole was filled in by something. Yeah. So they cut a new hole and Brrraains and Dizzy are sent down with the beacons again. They continue to argue in the tunnels and Razak wonders aloud what is going on with the squad. Tophai suggests that Rico was the heart of the squad and once he's back, they will be fine. Yep. And Razak's like, I can't mention that part. Awkward. In the tunnels, Dizzy comes to a fork she was at previously and notes that something has cleared out the cave in. Razak orders them to split up and be careful with the rest following above ground. So I like that. You go down the tunnel, but we'll just walk above you. Yep. So if you get into trouble, we can easily get you. It looks like Brrraains and Dizzy's tunnels have reconnected, but actually they're on different levels now.
The map's work is really cool.
Yeah,
above it.
Yeah, it sort of zooms and creates it. And you're like, okay. And the tunnels are all heading towards the beach. Interesting. Dizzy comes to a dead end, but the tunnel starts to shake around her, causing her to panic. Brewer's tunnel is also shaking as he tries to shoot his way down to her, and we see that the dead end that Dizzy came to is actually some sort of giant worm-digging creature. Have you seen Tremors?
Yeah.
It's a graboid, basically.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
The Roughnecks above shoot down and kill the creature, saving both Bruto and Dizzy. At the beach, Rico continues to have his nightmares, waking up declaring that the bugs are coming. And the doctor goes to drug him, but Rico asks Karma to stop the doctor, and she does. The doctor agrees to listen to Rico, but he continues to insist that he can hear the bugs even though she can't hear anything. And that's it. She says, you know what, I've seen enough. And obviously we know what that means. She's like, I've heard enough. She's going to go through with the Section 8 situation. Rico is pretty angry about this. Well, no, not that, because he doesn't know that, but he's angry that no one believes him.
Yeah.
We then see Razak attempting to contact the base, but the trooper on the radio is gone. So you kind of go back to the base, and whoever should be manning the radio is just not there.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why. The squad discuss what the worm bug was doing before Tophai interrupts and says that the tunnels were obviously for the mind bugs. And he declares that he will die because they're small tunnels.
Yeah.
He declares that he will die before he lets himself be enslaved again. And the squad realise the bugs are about to attack the base. They're basically going, well, we can't get to that base above ground. Let's go under.
Okay.
Razak orders his tunnels to be blown and then back to base. At the base, Rico is having a full-on freak out, and even Xander is trying to calm him down. Carmen suggests that drugs might be making his dreams feel more real, but Rico says he always dreams of bugs and it doesn't mean anything. Cool moment there. That snaps us back to reality.
Yep.
Because it's the way he says it. He's like, I've been dreaming about bugs ever since the war started. Yes. It doesn't mean anything. So he does dream about bugs and he doesn't care.
Yep.
This is different. At the base, he realises now that the bugs are in the tunnels below. The doctor orders her assistant to make the call to intel, but Rico smashes the tank with his fist.
Yeah, must be some extremely weak loss.
Yeah, I let it off.
Yeah.
I let it off because he's angry.
Yeah.
He rips the mask off and fights off security. Xander then pulls a gun on Rico, but Carmen gets in between them. This is really good shit.
Yeah, it's great, but I mean, Carmen's taking a major risk here because if he is a nutcase, she's fired, but whatever, or demoted, whatever. So, because I mean, if he turned out to be a nutcase, then she's in a lot of.
Yeah, I guess. Before anything else can happen, the floor though begins to buckle, and a worm bug emerges. They manage to kill it, and Rico confronts the doctor, who realises the tank being screwed to the floor amplified the noise. And I was like, that's so fucking clever.
It's absolute genius.
Genius.
Yeah.
It's a metal floor
Yeah.
with a tank. So any rumbling underneath that was going up through the floor, up through the tank, and then being amplified by the water in it. He was hearing things.
Very clever.
So fucking clever. I was genuinely like, oh. And I was like, the visions of the mind bugs crawling through the tunnels could very well have been his dreams.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant to that. I was like, shit. And the way Rico, the voice actor, does all of this, screams it and shouts, really strong acting.
These last 2 episodes also tell you that this show's not for kids.
No, this is some strong stuff.
Yeah.
And it's detailed and it's complex. And so the fact that it plays around with PTSD and tough decisions in military and the actions that sometimes have to happen like that, I just don't see kids getting it.
No.
The problems are just beginning though as mind control bugs arrive. An evacuation is ordered for the base and the Roughnecks arrive and start to help Rico. Rico uses alcohol jars that are just conveniently around, as you do, to kill a room full of bugs while outside the rest of the squad mop up the remaining. Carmen calls Rico a hero and kisses him, which Higgins films. Both Dizzy and Xander look on happily at this. Razor then orders everyone to be checked for mind bugs before ordering Rico back into the field. And that's the end of this campaign. It's not a significant campaign in the story of the battle with the bugs.
No.
It's not. It's almost like a sidestep story.
This is a development campaign for me. A lot of people's stories.
Yeah, to do with characters. Well, I wouldn't say a lot. I'd say a handful. Let's go back to the start. So who for the characters, right? It's the introduction to the fight and his stuff. That's the first half. The second half is Rico, Dizzy, Carmen, Xander. Now, there's a reason why I think they decided to bring Xander into it now.
Yes.
And we're going to get that into the next campaign and onwards. So it's time to start pushing Xander as more than just a side character.
Yeah.
The Rico stuff, if you take into account the speciesism, the issues he has with Tafai, and all of this stuff, it is a fucking strong episode for that actor.
Yeah,
the voice actor and what they do with him. I love the shades of grey that surround Carmen's relationship with Rico.
Yes.
And then the development of Dizzy around that as well. But that's about it.
The kiss at the end between Rico and Carmen, for me, she just did it basically like.
Well, her face shows her face, doesn't it? That she doesn't seem that comfortable with it, and it's almost like she's been guilted in it by Dizzy. And I thought that was an interesting touch too.
And Xander, for me, Xander was upset not because of Carmen, because it's sort of the way Dizzy was looking.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's what I gathered from that.
It's hard because their relationship has never really been that well defined in the show. But beyond that, I mean, the rest of them, Doc's not really in it much. Gossard's got a little bit here and there. Bruto, bit of Ray speciesism at the first part of it. Higgins is a non-entity in this one, a non-entity. And Ray's like complicated things at the start as his character, but then brings it back as usual by the end. I think there's some interesting stuff to do with the moon. While the first episode on the beach and the stuff on the beach isn't that interesting, it just feels like Zegama. Sorry, not Zegama. Hedora. It's nice when we're in the jungle. It's nice to see the natural life. Different colour scheme. It's quite leafy. It's quite interesting. I like the spider bugs. I like the fact that actual bugs, arachnids, aren't introduced until the very last part of the campaign.
It's a season without the main bad guys, basically.
Well, yeah. If it was supposed to be the planet they fed on or got their food from, I think it works in that. E.g., they almost stop there, pick some shit up, and then disappear again. So they're not actually that active on it, which I thought was really, really interesting. But, it's the fourth campaign. We're a bit more at home with these characters. We're learning constantly stuff. It was some really cool ideas. And it dealt with a couple of heavier subjects. I wouldn't say, it's hard to say whether it's the best or because it's split the campaigns. At this point, we know the characters so well. Of course, the episodes are going to be better. But I do think the final 2 episodes, the episodes involving Rico, getting almost is the memories of Rico and being in the tank, and this last one with the brain bugs coming through and him here and PTSD are some of the strongest stuff the show's done.
Yeah, I think it's a very strong season.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it doesn't beat Toffet for me. Toffet is one of my favourite seasons. But obviously, there are better seasons coming up.
What I would say this campaign lacks is the action.
Yes, yeah.
Its action is very ho-hum, ho-hum, ho-hum. Nothing we haven't seen before.
It's more of a story campaign.
It's more story-based, which for me was very, very interesting. Yeah. Got anything else?
No, that's it.
No, that's it. That is the Tesca campaign. You know what to do. You got any thoughts on it? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl as well as Big Cartel where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?